Gina from orchidandopal.com, back today with another even count flat peyote stitch ring tutorial. So I've been wearing this one with the little heart for a while now. Just a little fun design that I drew up a few months back. And a lot of you have asked about it and wanted me to do a tutorial for this little heart ring, and I promised you guys that this year I was going to try to do one new even count flat peyote ring per month. I thought it would be fun. One of the most viewed videos on my channel was actually for these modern striped peyote rings. So you guys really love them. I love them too. They're fun to make. They're kind of addicting to make. They're quick. They don't take a lot of materials. So I thought that it would be fun to just show you guys some other options. So I've been asked, how do I plan out the patterns of these peyote rings? Well, this is a cutting from a full page of, it may have been the brick stitch pattern on firemountaingems.com. I just did a Google search one day to see if I could find some free beading graph paper, and I found out that they have some different ones available on their site. So I'll leave the link to that below if you wanted to print some out at home. And as you can see, I just took some different colored markers and I just drew out my basic design. And I've done that quite a bit with all different designs, not just rings, but anything that I'm doing in brick stitch or peyote. I like to map it out on this, especially if I'm trying to come up with my own design. And as you can see, this is the same pattern that I used to create this second heart ring that I made. So I made this one using this little diagram here. It was really helpful, and it's nice because you can print these out at home and just kind of come up with any kind of design you want pretty much for these peyote stitch rings. So like I said, I drew up this design. It's a little bit asymmetrical. As you can see, it's even count, but the heart is an odd number of beads, but I actually like that. I think it looks really cute. So if you've never done even count peyote stitch before, don't worry about it. This is a pretty easy tutorial. You may want to start with just the two color stripe design. I will leave the link to that video hopefully up in the right hand corner up there, but it's very simple. So to get started making the little heart ring, let's talk about what materials you'll need. You'll need 3 different colors of 11O Miyuki Delica beads. These are little cylinder type beads. These are different than seed beads, and they fit together really well, kind of like little bricks, unlike seed beads that would leave a little bit of a gap in between if you use them for the peyote stitch. The Delica beads fit together seamlessly, just like that. So they're actually made to fit together without the little gaps on the edges, unlike the more rounded seed beads. So pick out 3 colors, decide what color you want to do your heart in, what color you want your background color, and then what color you want your accent color, we'll call it. So today I decided to use this gorgeous pinkish purple like lilac color that came in my recent Adornable Element subscription. This one was called Orchid Silk Satin, and it's got this beautiful sparkle to it, almost looks like it's glowing. And I waited for that subscription to roll in this month because I knew they would be sending me Delica beads. If you haven't seen that unboxing video, I'll try to link that up there as well. But basically I'm in a rotating Beads of the Month subscription, and every 8 months or so I get Delica beads in my subscription. They send some beautiful colors. So in addition to that, I was looking through my Delica stash, and here's my Delica stash, by the way. And so I was looking for some beads that coordinated with it, and I think I'm going to do this cream color in the background instead of this black. And then I think I always like to add a little bit of shine if I can. I'm going to use this bronze color as the accent. So I think that's going to look really nice together. Then I like to use FireLine. That is my go-to beading thread. This is a 6-pound weight. I buy the large 300-yard spools because I do a lot of beading. I use both the crystal color and then the smoke color, which is a darker gray. I will leave the link to this product below. You can also find it in 125 yards and 50 yards. And by the way, Don't worry if it doesn't say beading thread on it. This is actually a fishing line or a fishing product, and it works extremely well. Very durable, and it's great, especially with these rings. Like, you don't have to worry about getting them wet. Of course, eventually you might worry about the coating on the beads, but that's another story. I've been wearing these for a long time, haven't had any problem, and I do get them wet occasionally. You'll need scissors. You'll also need a beading needle. I'm using a size 10 beading needle, and with the FireLine you'll need about 5 feet. Of course, if you don't have FireLine or don't plan to purchase FireLine, just use the beading thread of your choice. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle with about 5 feet of FireLine, and then we'll get started. Alright guys, so I have my needle threaded, and this is the way that it's going to work. We're actually going to start just to the left of our heart, just about a couple rows to the left of it, and we're going to be working from bottom to top. And then how it works is you go up, down, so you're basically weaving this long kind of strip. And I say long, it's just going to be a strip that fits whichever finger that you are trying to fit. You're going to customize the length to make it fit you the best, so that's why I'm not going to give you a certain number of rows or anything like that that you're doing. And we're going to start here, then we're going to do the heart, and then by that time you're going to know how to just complete the pattern, and you're just going to make it as long as you need it. So with the first row of the flat even count peyote stitch, you're actually going to be putting on more beads in the first row than you are as you continue, because you're going to be kind of doing a pattern where you're going to be skipping over every other bead as you go along. You'll see what I mean in just a second. If you're brand new to even count peyote stitch, never done it before, you might want to just watch this video through first just to get a feel for how the process works. Otherwise, this will probably be very easy for you if you are used to the stitch. So to get started, we're going to put on a full sequence of beads, a full vertical row. We're going to put on one of our accent beads, 2 of the background beads, an accent, 3 background beads, and then an accent. So let me show you what I mean. So like I said, following our little pattern here, we're starting from the bottom, put on an accent bead, 2 background beads, an accent bead, 3 background beads, and then an accent bead. So this ring is going to be 8 rows tall. That's why they call it even count, because it's an even number. So this is the pattern that we're going to be stringing down onto our thread. So go ahead and pull those beads down, leaving about a 6-inch tail, which is something that you'll weave in later. So just hold that with your finger, your forefinger, and your thumb. I'm not going to add a stop bead. I just don't feel it's very necessary. We don't have that many beads, and you can just easily hold them like that. So you see how my tail is coming out down here at the bottom, and I have my working thread coming up from the top. Up here, we're coming out of that accent bead. What you're going to do now is put on another one of those accent beads. So you're going to be putting on the bead that is going to basically sit right next to this in this top row. So pick up one of those beads, and instead of going down through the bead you're coming out of, you're going to go down through the very next bead, which is one of your background colors, and then go ahead and pull that down. And you can see now that this kind of created a little T. So you have 2 of these accent beads that are going to form that top row sitting right next to each other. You're coming out of the second bead here, this background color. You're going to be popping in another background color, and instead of going right down the bead directly underneath, you're going to skip over it and go down through the 3rd background bead. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. You're coming out of this background bead here, your thread sitting right next to that kind of center accent bead, and you're ready to keep going. And you see how it's creating this edge here where you're going to be popping in beads on every other row as you continue down the strip. So we're ready to pick up an accent bead. We want it to go right next to the other one, so we're not going to go through that bead. We're going to go through the bead directly below it, just like that. Okay, popped into place. This is actually the hardest part, is just getting started. So once you have this down and the strip gets a little bit longer, it's going to get a lot easier because it's going to be easier to hold on to, and the form is going to really take shape. Alright, so we're coming out of this background bead right here. We're going to be putting another bead right next to this one, so pick up another background color. And finally, go through that bottom accent color bead. If you're new to this stitch, please don't worry if this takes you a little while to get used to. That is common. It's going to take some practice, and if you have to take it apart and start over, not a big deal. Alright, so we're at this point. We've completed 2 rows. As you can see, every other bead is sticking out just like that. We're coming out of this bottom bead of the accent color, and we're ready to go back up now in the other direction. So we're going to add on another accent color and then go through the background bead that's sticking out. So pick up an accent color and go through the bead that's sticking out. Okay, puts it right next to that bead, which is what we want. Pick up a background color and go through the accent bead that's sticking out. We want our next bead to fall in here, and that's going to be a background color. And another background color going through the very top accent. Just like that. Okay. And now I don't really have to worry about holding on to that tail thread so much or anything, because the beads are feeling nice and tight and secure, and our strip is kind of starting to take shape. Alright, so we're coming out of this bead right here. Pick up another accent color. And this is the row where we're going to start our heart. Okay, so as you can see on our diagram, we are at the point where we want to put on our first heart color bead. We're right there. So I don't pay attention to the number of rows I did over here on the left. That was just an example. We kind of started right here. So as you can see, we have 3 of our accent colors on now. We put one of our background colors on, and now we are ready to pop into place this left edge of our heart. So pick up one of your heart colors. And you can pop it right into place there. And we'll keep going down the row. So we need an accent color next. Then we need a background color. And we've completed that row. So you have this right here. And now we'll go back up. Accent color. Background color. And like you can see on the diagram, our next 2 colors, this one and this one, are going to be our heart color. So pick up a heart color and go through that one right there. to get that in place, and pick up another heart color and then go through the top bead on that row. So you have this, and we're just going to continue down. Accent color. And keep a nice tension on these peyote rings. Make sure the beads are popping into place and you don't have any kind of wiggle room or gapping. Okay, we're ready for another heart color. Okay, so right here we're going to be putting on another heart color instead of the accent bead because we're continuing down in this kind of diagonal fashion to complete this side of our heart. So putting on another one of these heart beads, a background bead, heading back up now with another accent. We're ready to put on another heart bead color because we're continuing our diagonal pattern. So popping that into place, continuing with the heart color, which is filling in. And then one more heart color because the top left hand side of our heart has 2 beads worth. Okay, now headed back down with an accent bead. And let's take a look at our pattern again. So, as you can see, we're at this point. We've already put on the 2 beads for our left side top of the heart, and we're now at the point where we're going to continue down that row, and then we will be leaving the middle section of the top of our heart our background color. So just wanted to show you that before we proceeded down. So let's just keep filling in our heart as we go. Another heart color. And our heart is going to continue down to where we just have one of our heart color at the very bottom edge, just like that. We're actually at that point now, so we'll pick up the very bottom heart color for the bottom of our heart, just like that, and pop it into place. So we're almost halfway done with our heart. Let's continue filling it in. And make sure those beads pop right into place. Just love this color so much. So we've filled in the center, and like I was saying, instead of doing another heart color right here, we're just going to pick up one of our background color beads and put that right into place. And now we can continue on with the second half, or the right side of our heart. So pick up an accent bead going back down in the other direction. Continuing on with the heart color. Just like that, and one more heart color. There we go. Now we're ready to head back up in this direction, and we want to add on another accent bead. Accent color, that is. Continue with the heart color. You see what I mean, how this gets easier as you go, as the strip gets bigger. It's just easier to hold on to. So, and it also starts to make more sense. Continuing with the heart color and another heart color up here to start working on the top right hand side of our heart. Gonna continue by going back down in the other direction, picked up an accent color, going down through the bead that's sticking out, picking up another heart color, continuing on with that for a little bit. Okay, and as you can see, we only needed 2 of the heart color on this row, so we're ready to put in one of our background colors at this point. Just like that. Keep working up the other way. Got my accent bead on there. Ready for another background color. Heart color. Another heart color. And that finishes that row. We're almost done with our heart, so let's keep going. We're going to go down the other direction, just like we've been doing. Got to pick up an accent bead. Down through the heart color. And then we just need one more heart color, and that's going to finish up our heart, and it's going to go right on this side in between those 2 pink beads there. Okay, so at this point we're ready to put in another accent color because we're going to continue with this little stripe that kind of seems to go behind the heart. So pick that up. There we go. And we'll continue on, background. And back up. Got an accent bead, background color. So we are all done using our heart color. We'll just be using 2 colors for the rest of this ring. There we go. So now you should have an idea of what you need to do, because you're basically just going to be working with your background color and your accent color in the same manner, making a strip that's as long as you need to complete your ring for however long you want your ring. And then what we'll do is we will join the 2 sides of the ring together, and it's going to be seamless. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to speed up the video so you can kind of see me working on it, and we'll meet back here when we are about ready to join the 2 sides. Alright guys, so your peyote strip should look something like this, and in order to finish it up after you have taken it and put it around your finger, whichever one you want to measure it with, and you can see that it's going to line up nicely here, what you want to make sure is that you end on a row that is the opposite of the first row that you have. And what I mean is you want these sides to kind of fit together like a puzzle piece. You can see that they're the opposite in terms of which beads are sticking out on either side, so that when they do get sewn together, they're going to sit together and kind of zip up. So on the top row I have one sticking out on the right. On the left it's indented. So when we go ahead and put these together, they're going to sit together like rows of bricks like we've been doing. So make sure you're ending at that point. I have my tail threads sticking out at the bottom. My working thread is here at the top, and we're going to go ahead and put these sides together. So I'm going to flip it around just so it's easier for me to work. And at this point, you know, you could have already woven in your tail thread just so it's out of the way. I'll just wait till the end to do that and show you how I weave it in with the working thread. So you can see I'm coming out of this bead right here, and I want to attach the two sides together. I'm going to go ahead and proceed right down the top accent bead here on the other side, and that's going to start pulling these together. Now with my needle, I'm going to go ahead and go down through this next bead as well. It's going to get it started and just pull them together, and it's going to start to join the two ends just like that. So I'm coming out of this bead right here. Just keep kind of putting those together. I'm coming out of this bead right here. I'm going to go over to this side once again to join the two ends together. And I'm going to join this bead, moving my needle diagonally over to the bead on the other side, and pull it together, and it's starting to pop into place. Once again, I'm coming out of this bead right here, this cream colored bead. I'm going to take my needle directly to the opposite side, put it through that accent bead, and also through the bead on the other side directly diagonally down from that. And we're just zipping this up. It's coming together really nice. Okay, coming out of this bead on this side here. So I'm going to go directly to the opposite side to join the two again. And I'm going to go diagonally with my needle through both of these beads to join. Pull that. Okay, so the only thing we haven't joined together yet is this bead and this bead. So I'm going to go right next to where I'm coming out and put my needle down through that accent bead as well as one of the cream colored background beads diagonally below that. Pull, and you can see it's joined. It is absolutely seamless. So this is how it's looking. It's looking really, really good, I think. So we're going to continue through some beads, and then we are going to make some knots and finish up this ring. So I'm coming out of this bead right here. We're just going to follow our beads. You can go one by one. If you can get through a couple of them at a time, that's good too. Turn this around. Coming out right here. Just follow your beads kind of like a little stair step, and what you want to do is get to the other side. So don't skip over additional beads, just go to beads that are right next to each other and eventually make your way to the other side of the ring, because that's where you're going to make your little half hitch knots. So I'm coming out right here out of this bead. I'm just going to go through this loop that's right next to it, in between these two beads, going under the loop, making a little loop with my thread, going under that loop with my needle to make a little knot. Once again, going in the other direction, just going down the bead that's right next to that, and I'm going to follow my beads one at a time to the other side and make a knot on the other side. You want to do this at least about 3 times just to make sure everything is secure. And so we're going to do this coming up for the second time. Okay, we're on this end. Once again, just going to go under that little thread bridge right there and make a half hitch knot. And I'm going to do this one more time. We're going to go, just turning my piece around, we're going to go to the other side. And if you already know how to end your piece, you don't have to keep watching because this is pretty much it. Do want to let you guys know that I do have a Patreon account. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's just a way to support creators and artists. I do a lot of these free tutorials for you guys here on YouTube, and I've been asked if I have a Patreon account. And I'm happy to say I do. I love my patrons. You guys are awesome. You really mean the world to me, your support. I have different tiers that you can choose to contribute if you so desire, and that will get you different types of discounts at my online store, orchidandopal.com, where I sell my handmade jewelry. And eventually one of my goals is to be able to provide my patrons with an exclusive tutorial or two every month that won't be posted here on YouTube, because you guys are awesome. But I love all you guys, of course. Either way, that's just an additional way you could choose to support me if you so desire. Okay, so I made my third half hitch knot right there, and we don't want to end our thread right here. We don't want to cut our thread at this point, so we want to weave back into about some place in the center of our ring, and that way we can cut our thread off and it's not going to be sticking out on the side. You can go through this as many times as you want, but I found that doing about 3 half hitch knots on either side and weaving back through a little bit is plenty. Wear these rings all the time. They're very, very durable. And you're going to do the exact same thing to weave in your tail thread. Alright guys, so I wove in my tail thread just like I did the working thread, and this is how it came out. Super pretty and flexible. I just love that pink heart. I think it looks really, really cute. Let's try it on and see how it looks. Slide it down. It's a perfect fit. There we go. So cute. I just love that ring. So here's all 3 of the little heart rings that I have, just to show you some variations in different colors. Definitely check out the link that I'm going to leave below to the free beading graphing paper that I found in case you are interested in mapping out your own designs or even mapping out the same design just to refer to later. I think it's always fun to play around with the graph paper and see what designs you can come up with. By the way, in case anybody has the question, where do I buy my Delica beads? Well, first of all, I've been getting them in this rotation from Adornable Elements from time to time. You can also find Delica beads at your local craft store if you are a person that likes to shop your local craft store. I'm a huge online shopper, so I like to buy my Delicas online. One of my favorite websites for Delicas is EurekaCrystalBeads.com, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I find that they usually have some really good prices. They have a good color selection, and they usually send coupons to my email that help out with the cost. The shipping as well in the US is free over $35, so I've done a lot of shopping with them and I've been very happy with them. So I hope your rings came out great. I'm sure you guys came up with some amazing color combinations. I'd love to see them if you want to share them with me on Facebook or tag me on Instagram or send them to me via email. I have all of my social media handles and email down below as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, I love to hear from you. I do respond, so please feel free to leave those in the comment section. And I hope you guys join me again for more tutorials just like this, more subscription unboxings, and more finished jewelry updates where I share what I've been up to. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and as always, happy beading. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love you to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like to see more of my videos, and check out the video description section to follow along on all of my social media handles, and check out my new website and blog at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching!